All right.
All right.
We are live.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 2020 or Bust Arbor Day extravaganza. My name is Lachlan Arts, and I am the executive director of 2020 or Bust, and I am here with Jeremy Helm, who is what's your title in this deal, Jeremy? You made the practical existentialist. Is that right?
Yeah, that's my personal brand, and I'm lending some of those skills and of where our commitment overlaps.
Yeah, well,
So yeah,
I hate to tell you, but there's nothing personal about any of this stuff. Okay, so that's like saying there's something personal about the coronavirus. But I appreciate that you've got your own particular expression, and I appreciate that. Okay, and also Jeremy has been on the 2020 or Bust team for several years, just really amazing. And yes, you have. I call it. Yeah, there it is. 2020 or Bust. Awesome. Now
it's a personal
absolutely
shirt. No one else wears
his shirt. Exactly right. And I am wearing my tree shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, which is from the Salty Peaks sports store, the ski store, skateboard store, everything like that, which was one of the wonderful places that we discovered when we did our 400-mile skateboard trek from Salt Lake City to Las Vegas, which took us through the most beautiful forests and trees and national parks and anything that I'd ever seen in my life. 37 days it took us to make the trip, and it was awesome. And
400 miles, right?
400 miles, exactly, right? And so anyway, welcome to our Arbor Day extravaganza. Yes. And I also have my tree cup mug that I'll be using today. Now, it's the Christmas tree, but a tree is a tree, isn't it? And a tree doesn't care if it's Christmas or not. So anyway, I thought a great way to start is to actually, I thought, because Arbor Day, what the heck is Arbor Day, right? So I'm going to give you a brief history of Arbor Day because I find it quite fascinating, and it fits right into what 2020 or Bust is all about and what we're out to accomplish, all right? So here we go. So this is the history of Arbor Day. We could have some wonderful background history music, which we don't have, but you can imagine it as we go along. So among the pioneers moving into the Nebraska Territory in 1854 was J. Sterling Morton from Detroit. He and his wife were lovers of nature, and the home they established in Nebraska was quickly planted with trees, shrubs, and flowers. Morton was a journalist and soon became editor of Nebraska's finest newspaper. Given that forum, he spread agricultural information and his enthusiasm for trees to an equally enthusiastic audience. His fellow pioneers missed their trees, but more importantly, trees were needed as windbreaks to keep soil in place, for fuel and building materials, and for shade from the hot sun. Morton not only advocated tree planting by individuals in his articles and editorials, but he also encouraged civic organizations and groups to join in, just the way we're inviting you all out there to join in. His prominence in the area increased, and he became secretary of the Nebraska Territory, which provided another opportunity to stress the value of trees. On January 4th, 1872, Morton first proposed a tree planting holiday to be called Arbor Day at a meeting of the State Board of Agriculture. The date was set for April 10th, 1872. Prizes were offered to counties and individuals for planting properly the largest number of trees on that day. It was estimated that more than 1 million trees were planted in Nebraska on the first Arbor Day. Now we're out to plant 10,000 right here. Arbor Day was officially proclaimed by the young state's governor, Robert W. Furness, on March 12, 1874, and the day itself was observed April 10, 1874. In 1885, Arbor Day was named a legal holiday in Nebraska, and April 22nd, Morton's birthday, was selected as the date for its permanent observance. According to accounts from the Nebraska City News, April 1885, the city celebrated Arbor Day with a grand parade and a speech by J. Sterling Morton. Students of different grades met at their respective schoolrooms in the morning for the purpose of planting at least one tree. Each tree that was planted was labeled with the grade, the time planted, and was to be specially cared for by that grade. When the plantings were completed, 1,000 students formed a line to begin the parade from the various schools to Nebraska City's Opera House. In the parade, each class carried colorful banners made of satin with silk lining and trimmed with gold fringe. The letters on the banner were painted in oil colors. By the time the parade reached the Opera House, the throng numbered well over 1,000 as townspeople joined the march. Every available foot of space in the Opera House was occupied, the students having the front seats and gallery, while the older persons stood. At 11 o'clock, the throng of celebrants was addressed by J. Sterling Morton. Mr. Morton was listened to with much attention and loudly applauded at the close of his address. At the conclusion of the ceremonies, the students sang America, and the large audience was dismissed. This ended the first celebration of Arbor Day as a legal holiday, and as reported by the newspaper, to say that it was a complete success, but faintly expresses it. A celebration of this kind results in good to all and is worthy of imitation by every school in the state. During the 1870s, other states passed legislation to observe Arbor Day, and the tradition began in schools nationwide in 1882. Today, the most common date for the state observance is the last Friday in April, and several U.S. presidents have proclaimed a National Arbor Day on that date. But a number of state Arbor Days are at other times to coincide with the best tree planting weather from January and February to the south, in the south to May in the far north. And here's the last thing, and this is a quote from J. Sterling Morton, the man who created all of this amazing celebration that is Arbor Day. His quote is, "Each generation takes the earth as trustees." Each generation takes the earth as trustees. And that really gets into what it is that's at the heart of this whole deal with 2020 or bust. So we're not here just to plant trees, and planting trees definitely makes a difference and actually is essential in our current economic state of things. For example, I don't know if you know this or not, but during this event, we've got 2 hours here. Excuse me, let me get a drink. We're having this event because, 2020 or bust, our mission is to empower humanity to end the climate crisis. So be clear that our mission is not to end the climate crisis. And we're committed to ending the climate crisis, but not just by some scientific breakthrough or political move or legislation or whatever it is that's out there that looks like is what's likely going to end the crisis. Our mission is empowerment. The heart of our deal is empowerment. And empowerment, the way we work, it's not the kind of power that's kind of the force power, or how you get more power is you get bigger guns, or you get bigger clout, or you get more money, the kind of powers that normally exist in the world. The way we work with empowerment is that empowerment is a function of awareness. Empowerment is a function of waking up. Empowerment is a function of moving from unconscious to conscious. And how we work is that there's myths that we live in, that we relate to as the truth and as facts. And when you can expose those myths, and suddenly people are free from the constraint of those myths, all of a sudden they got a whole new kind of power. And that's the empowerment that we're after. And one of the myths that we are out to expose in the whole business of the climate crisis is that we as human beings exist, we live for ourselves, we kind of exist for ourselves, we kind of think to ourselves that we exist independent of the other forms of life. That we're just kind of here, even like people say, oh, well, if we screw it up on this planet, we'll just go to Mars. So we treat Earth as just kind of this trailer park. And if this trailer park gets screwed up, then we'll just go and find another place to live. That's a myth. That's a myth. It's simply not accurate. The real way that it is that we as human beings live in an interconnectedness with all of life. So like these beautiful trees behind me and the trees that we're here to celebrate really between now and the end of May, we're taking 2020 bus is taking, we're planting our seed right here from what is this, April 26th all the way to May 31st. We are going to be celebrating the magic, the beauty, the power, and the interconnectedness with humanity that trees offer. So, see, we're inviting you to plant trees. $2 a tree. And how you plant a tree is that you go to the 2020 or Bust website, 2020orbust.org. Look at that. There's a big banner right there that says we're committed to planting 100,000 trees. You click that and you go ahead and plant your trees. Now, it doesn't just plant a tree or $2, okay? And we'd like you to spend a lot more than $2, all right? So don't get stuck on the $2. But let's say you're going to plant 100 trees, so that's going to cost you $200. $100 of your $200 goes to the actual planting of the trees, and you will plant 100 trees. The other part of that money goes to supporting the work of 2020 or Bust. And what 2020 or Bust is doing is waking people up to the myths that they live in that keep them powerless in the face of actually ending the climate crisis. And one of those myths is this myth that we live independent of the rest of life. So we kind of treat nature like it's this thing out there. And it's this thing out there that's wonderful to enjoy when we want to go to the woods, or it's this thing out there that if we want to build a house or a shopping center or something like that, we'll just chop it all down because, it's just kind of there. But we don't have any real awareness of the direct connectedness that there is between the life force of nature and humanity itself. So we're here to open that up so that not only does your money go to planting trees, but your money goes to waking people up to the interconnectedness of all of life between human beings and everything else, and in particular, what the trees offer. So just want to give you some facts about trees because I'm now deep into the whole business of trees now that we're doing this and found that I was pretty gosh darn ignorant. So one of the things is that trees offer one of the most vital life force supporting mechanisms that there is in the world in terms of what they do to reduce carbon emissions, in terms of what they do in terms of lots and lots. But this is what I want to share with you. During this broadcast, so we're going to be on here for 2 hours. We've been on here now for 11 minutes. So this show that we're doing today is going to be 2 hours long. During the time that we're going to be on the show, 10,800 acres of rainforest will be destroyed. 10,800 acres. Every second, an acre and a half of rainforest is destroyed. Now, how many trees is that? A little over 2 million trees. So in the time that we are here together, slightly over 2 million trees will be destroyed. Now, you probably didn't know that. Well, that's what we're here for. See, we're here for empowerment. We're here to empower the ordinary person, right? The ordinary person to get not only the facts of the situation that are going to make a difference, but also to give you the opportunity, once you have those facts, to take responsibility for the situation. And that's the magic sauce in 2020 or Bust, is responsibility. It's not just a breakthrough in information. It's a breakthrough in responsibility. And then once you've taken responsibility for the situation, which fundamentally what that looks like is that you shift your relationship from the situation, which in this case is the climate crisis, is that I shift my relationship to the climate crisis from that it's something out there, outside my grasp, that hopefully somebody else is doing something about. I shift it from that to it's mine. All of a sudden, I bring the situation right over to me, and I put my own self right in the driver's seat of the situation. Now, but what that means is that I can't be blaming people anymore. I can't talk about the mess that we're in because of blah, blah, blah. And if only blah, 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 then we wouldn't be in that mess. And if only blah, blah, blah would do something about it, then we'd be out of the mess. No, it's up to me. Now, can I do it alone? Absolutely not. But it gives me a whole new kind of power in working with other people that I didn't have before. So part of this whole business of the climate crisis, right, is that the bulk of the trees that are being destroyed, the bulk of the rainforest that's being destroyed is being destroyed for the purpose of agricultural farming. And what that means is that most of the trees that are being destroyed so that the cattle can graze and that those cattle can then be slaughtered so that human beings can eat them. So the actions is where it is kind of where it comes down to, is it's your daily action. So one of the daily actions that we're asking you to do is we're asking you to plant a tree. That's a daily action. It's a great daily action because you can do that from quarantine. You can do that from your apartment. You don't have to go outside. Although I hope you all are going outside. I hope you all have not taken this social distancing to mean that you can't go outside. You got to get outside. Get outside, take a walk. Don't have to be around people, but take a walk, go to the park, get some sun. It's scientifically proven that sunshine is one of the best things for this situation. So one of the other actions that you can take is that you can stop eating meat. See, the more meat we stop eating, the less forests will be destroyed. It is a direct connection. If we stopped eating meat, stopped eating hamburgers, we would stop having to have the resources destroyed so that those hamburgers could be consumed. So in terms of this work that we're doing between now and the end of May, which is focusing on trees. And look, we've got this 2-hour event here to kind of open it up, but we're going to be broadcasting, live and recorded and everything, right between now and the end of May, because our whole thing is trees, 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 the magic of trees, the wonder of trees, the interconnectedness between trees and humanity and what that brings the world, all of that, that's going to be the deal. But the two things that you can do directly connected to this is one is plant a tree, and the other is reduce your meat intake, reduce that beef intake. Okay. So any question about that for you, Jeremy? Are we still on? Is this thing still working? Hello.
We're still streaming.
All right,
yes.
Good. So here's some other things that you might not have known about, because look, it's a tree day. It's all day about trees, and I know I'm doing lots of research and I'm getting connected to these trees that look. One of the big other kind of the arena of the myth that we live in is we human beings we are one arrogant species, aren't we? And I'm a human being, so I'm right here, okay? But we walk around like this is our place. We walk around the planet like it's our apartment or something. It's like, oh my gosh, right? Look at these trees behind me, okay? And they're not really behind me, okay? But that's a good picture, isn't it? See, they were here long before I was here, and they're going to be here long after I was here, after I'm gone, all right? So human beings, this is not our planet. It's not our planet. We're guests. We're passing through, okay? So it's our job. How about if what we took on was we're going to leave it in better shape than when we got here? Like in the spirit of Bucky Fuller, who also said that the whole business with the climate is not a crisis of technology or carbon. It's a crisis of consciousness. So what if we took on that we're going to leave this place better off than when we got here? And I use Bucky Fuller because, if you're familiar with Bucky and his work in Spaceship Earth, I mean, that guy was one responsible human being. He operated. If he went into a public bathroom, he was cleaning it up because it was his bathroom. If he went out on the street, it was his street. It wasn't him, mine, whose, whatever. It wasn't that kind of crap. It was all his, and his, not like possession. Like I'm gonna, grab up as much as I can so that I've amassed as much property and money and all that other crap before I die. No, it's the magical ownership, not of possession, but of responsibility, that it's mine. I own it like you're in my house, and it's my business to take care of this house. So, I thought you might also want to know some nice facts about trees that you might not want to know. So I've also got that along with you, right? So you want it to be educational, but again, not just educational, but when you see something or you hear something in this 2 hours, say, you know what? I'm going to take this thing on. I'm going to join 2020 or bust. And not like it's some other organization or something, but the opportunity to take responsibility and make a real difference in the matter of ending the climate crisis. I'm going to get on board with these folks. I'm going to take on their mission right now, which is to plant 100,000 trees. So don't only plant the trees, but invite other people to plant trees. Put our link on your Facebook page and then send it out to your contacts and your friends and, all the whoever's that you can, get to on Facebook or email or instant messenger or Instagram or all the other stuff that's out there, and say, listen, I invite you to plant 5 trees, or I invite you to plant 10 trees, or, I invite you to plant 500 trees, whatever that is. But let's make taking responsibility for the situation that we're in right now on the planet. Let's make taking responsibility go viral. See, that's something nobody's done before. You can have all kinds of stuff go viral about, the sex stuff goes viral, and, I don't know what, gambling stuff goes viral, and, you can win something, and all, that stuff all goes viral, right? But boy, wouldn't it be something if we could pull off what we're here to pull off, which is having taking responsibility go viral? Because it's not something that human beings are kind of naturally attracted to, all right? And we're saying that it's what's going to ultimately make the difference. And what we're talking about specifically today is let's take responsibility for our relationship with these beautiful creatures called trees. Now, here's one thing about trees. Trees are the longest living organism on Earth. They've been here longer than everything. And they never die of old age. How about that? Did you know that? I don't think so. There you go, right? Now, trees, in a single day, a large tree consumes about 100 gallons of water. And it discharges it into the air as oxygen and water vapor. Okay? Let's see, what else? There were trees planted from the moon. So the moon trees were grown from seeds taken from the moon in early 1971. So some of us were actually around there, right, when that moon thing happened, if it really happened, because there's people that think it all happened in a Hollywood studio, but I don't think so, okay? So after orbiting the Earth with the Apollo 14 mission, these tree seeds returned to Earth and were germinated by the Forest Service. After being planted with their earthbound counterparts, these seedlings showed no discernible difference after 20 years of growth. So there's trees from the moon growing right here. This is awesome. Listen to this. Trees are able to communicate and defend themselves. And they can defend themselves against attacking insects. Scientists have found that trees can flood their leaves with chemicals called phenolics when the insects begin their raid, and they can also signal danger to other trees so they can start their own defense. See, they're out there talking. The trees are boy, let's wake up to what the heck is this thing called a tree? And really let's use this time in these next, what would it be, 20, 31, 35, 36 days between now and the end of May, to get 100,000 trees planted and maybe 100,000 people woken up to the interrelatedness between human beings and trees. Okay, that's what I'm on for. That's what I'm working on. That's what my posting's going to be about. That's what my connectedness with other organizations, and there's amazing organizations out there. Greenpeace does wonderful things in the matter of trees. The Arbor Day Foundation does wonderful things. All of that, right? But trees are one of the main resources that human beings have in ending the climate crisis, is us and our relationship to trees. So, pine cones have genders. Did you know that? There's male and female pine cones. And, knock on wood. You know where knock on wood came from? The knock on wood tradition comes from a time when primitive pagans used to tap or knock on trees to summon the protective spirits that resided in them. So, anyway, there's that's excuse me. That's that. And okay. So now let's a little bit of this is like a telethon kind of thing, right? Let's see how many trees we've got planted. So today, let's see. It's rolling around. Oh, also for people that want to know, 470. Okay, so we've got 235 trees that have been planted today, on our way to 10,000. Okay, it's a good start, but please have it be a start. Okay, so 235 trees, and the organization that we use for our planting is One Tree Planted, which is an amazing organization. They've been heavily vetted. We went through all the other, and we found them to be kind of the best that we could find. Now, we're not saying anything against any of the other ones, but that's who we use. And so that's who does it. And we're planting the trees. Given when you plant your tree or when you make your investment, is that it will be determined where in the world those trees will make the biggest impact, and that's where they get planted. So you can trust that your money is making a huge investment, both in terms of contributing to the physical sustainability of the planet by planting a tree where there was no tree, and also by the sustainability of humanity, by the transformation of humanity itself. All of that happens, $2 a tree. What kind of bargain is that? I ask you. So, excuse me. So let's see. I wanted to also, oops, sorry, it helps. I'm working on all kinds of computers here, So I want to also just kind of let you know some information. I know we don't want information as information, but I think this is important to know because we relate to every individual as that they really do have a say in the matter of the way the planet goes. We don't relate to people as powerless, even though many people relate to themselves as such. So here's the deal, and you got to have information, responsibility, and the opportunity to act. Those are the three essential elements of empowerment. So we're losing Earth's greatest biological treasures as we are beginning to appreciate them. So rainforests once covered 14% of the Earth's land surface. Now they cover a mere 6%. That's how much we've destroyed. And it's estimated that the last remaining forests could be consumed in less than 40 years. That's the track we're on. Less than 40 years. So these 100,000 trees we're planting, and we got a game between now and the end of May for 100,000 trees, but that's inside our big game of 1 million trees in 2020. This is our Arbor Day game. Here's another thing to note in terms of the forests. Nearly half of the world, nearly half, okay? So if you can imagine all of the species of plants, animals, everything that are existing in the world, nearly half of the world's species of plants, animals, and microorganisms will be destroyed or severely threatened over the next 25 years due to rainforest deforestation. That's what's coming in 25 years. Is that of all the species of life, all forms of life that existed in the world, we as human beings will be destroying almost half of all of that life force in the next 25 years. And that's directly related to the myth that human beings live in, which is there's us and then there's everything else, but everything else is just everything else. So we relate to insects just like, pencils, or we relate to trees just like, I don't know, cardboard boxes, whatever, but they're just kind of these things out there. And we just kind of operate independent of everything else, and not realizing that we're totally screwing the foundational ecostructure that is essential to humanity because we don't live independent of life. We are existing as a function of the interconnectedness of life. So what I do when I cut down that tree, when that tree gets cut down, it affects me. I just don't have any awareness of it. When that tree gets cut down, it affects you, but you don't have any awareness of it. So what we're out to do is to bring that awareness to a huge chunk of humanity, and to use this Arbor Day campaign and the planting of trees and this investigation and the whole kind of inquiry of the power of trees and the relationship of trees to life and humanity itself, to have that investigation over the next 36 days, to have it be something that really does alter the course of history and make the ending of the climate crisis a reality that it wasn't before. All right, so we know we're winding down here to the end of this first segment. I'm just so appreciative of everybody that's made this possible. So appreciative to the team of 2020 or Bust that has been banging at this for 5 years now. And it really does take something to bang away at something when, for the most part, you're not listened to. And I'm not blaming anybody for not listening to us. It's just that, we're not one of those sexy, catchy, whatever things out there. But we're certainly out to be sexy and catchy if we can, kind of hit that nice angle there, right? Hey, one of our campaigns is don't let the planet get hotter than you, right? So let's talk about trees. Hey, trees are hot. There you go. Trees are sexy. Trees are, whoa, 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 boom, baby. That's right. All right. So, Jeremy, I think that's it for us. I'm going to be back on towards the end of our wonderful 2 hours here, and and just as an awareness, right, that the time that we've been on, the time that I've had the opportunity to be with you, we've destroyed about 500,000 trees, and that's something.
Not welcome news, but reality. That is the reality of it. Thank you, Lachlan.
Thank you,
That
Jeremy.
was excellent.
Yeah, thank you. Just it's great. I love working with you. I love working with the practical existentialist.
Yeah, I need to come up with a.
And that's different. And that's different than you're practically existential. So don't get them confused. Okay?
I border on that sometime too.
All right. So is our next segment fired up there? They're ready to go?
Yeah. Oh, look who just stepped in here.
This is Tom Carter. Tom, you're still on here. I feel like I'm on the news channels where I pass it over to the next anchor person, right?
That's right.
I'm going to be sure and wish you a happy Arbor Day. Happy birthday. Okay?
Exactamundo. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Lachlan, are you signing off?
Yep, signing off.
All right, I gotta manage this guy's mic. Let's see here. So if you're streaming in the background, because I'm hearing some yakety yak that sounds like us on a time delay. So just be mindful of that.
Sure, I think it should just be us right now. I'm not sure.
Okay, it's quieted down. Thank you for that. Are you ready to go?
Raring and ready to go. I mean, here we are.
Okay, great.
You say what? Shall I take it away?
Take it away, man.
Well, okay, we've got a slightly. So first of all, as Lachlan mentioned, it is my birthday. So a great birthday present would be, plant 1,000 trees, and I plan on planting a few myself. So are you? I'm checking something here, Jeremy. So can you hear me, Mary Tessman?
I can hear you, but what I hear is different than you.
I know. Can you hear me speaking?
It's probably delayed.
Yeah. Okay, it's just a delay.
There's a 10-second delay from what we're doing here to then going on out to the stream.
Okay, great. And yes, and Mary's listening in as a participant in our show. So yes. So just a little bit. So again, it's my birthday. So I'd love you to plant a tree for my birthday, plant 1,000 trees for my birthday, whatever works for you. Like I say, we're going to be planting some here. And what we'd like to do is, kind of a sort of a multi-dimensional presentation here. And we wanted to start with, we're here in our house in Michigan. We live at Smithland Farms in South Michigan. It's the oldest farm in Michigan, and this is the oldest farmhouse in Michigan. So we're going to give you a bit of a tour of the farmhouse, and you can see the love of trees has been more than evident for, yeah, go ahead, Mary. Lachlan's calling Mary, so that always makes it interesting.
I hung up.
No, you should call him back. He's calling you for a reason. Please. Okay. All right, so Mary's going to be talking to Lachlan, who was just on before us. But in the meantime, I'd like to show you a little bit of the inside of the oldest farmhouse in Michigan, and some of an experience of some of the love of trees here. This was the paintings I'm going to show you were done by Sherry. Sherry's
my
right
grandmother.
here.
Yeah,
her grandmother.
She lived and died. She was born here and she died here at 97.
And Mimi loved trees, and you'll be able to tell by this is in the main kitchen here. Let's see what. I need to turn it around. I need to flip my phone. so you can see. Let me flip my phone. Okay, and there you see, this is in the kitchen, and the beautiful trees painted into the ceiling and going all the way around the ceiling and down. And now you're looking out the back there. You'll see some trees. We're going to take a tour around the outside so you can see the wonderful trees here. And here's from some scenes from Wind in the Willows, also still in the kitchen. And again, the beautiful trees with little squirrels up there in the trees and birds in the trees over here. And believe it or not, we've even got paintings in the bathroom. So we'd like to show you the bathroom. And as we go through, you'll see the living room and dining room is all knotty pine. There was a major storm here, which blew down pine trees and provided the wood to line the inside of this house. You can see it's very beautiful here. With and you'll see as we go outside, you'll see what we're seeing from here. But again, just to come back to, you know, the love of nature and trees. So here we are in the bathroom, and you can see she did some wonderful paintings here. Again, scenes somewhat from the Wind in the Willows, and it's a great place to take a shower too. So there you have it. There's the Wind in the Willows. Oh, and also a little monkey, and she put a little jewel in his eye. So there you go. So you can see this is a house where woods and trees were a key feature. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go out and give you a little demo. As Lachlan said, you know, it's especially in these trying times, to get outside and to get some fresh air. And we'll go right out here. Let's go right outside here. And again, we just want to imagine the trees that you plant. And again, it's planting. 2020 or Bust has a wonderful program to plant trees. And if you can imagine future generations. Now I'm going to turn this around again so you can get a better view, not of me, but of the area that we're in. So we're up, look at that, these three wonderful trees. And behind them, we have our garden. We try to keep our carbon footprint down by, you know, providing a garden and keeping trees. We've got this was the horse barn. This used to be Tennessee Walkers here at the farm. And as you can see, again, trees, and more trees. And this is, I don't know, from my point of view, it's how we benefit from the work that was done many years ago, both in planting trees and preserving trees. This is a tree I wanted to introduce you to, which is just an unbelievable tree. So here it is at the base. We may just put our arms around it to show you how big it is around. It doesn't quite get justified in this, but as we go up the tree, you can see it spreads out incredibly. Hard to tell even how tall the thing is, but spreads out over the house. And these other trees are out in front of the house. And it's amazing how cool the house is kept in the summertime. Oh, and now I would like to go ahead and show you. We're actually gonna reach around this tree here so you can get a sense of how large it is. So I've got my my partners here, Mary and Sherry. So see, this is a bit of a close-up on this tree. You can see again, very big, beautiful. Now you guys, why don't you hug that tree? So reach around, and then you get around there.
Poison ivy.
Yep, watch the poison ivy. Okay, right there. Keep going around there. And okay, so here's Mir. Hug this way. Now you can't reach Sherry, can you? So I'm 6 feet tall. I'm gonna flip this around again so I can speak. So I'm 6 foot, and Mary and Cherry are at least 5 foot. And so, let's see, that's 10, that's 16 feet. So this tree is almost 20 feet around.
Yeah,
Probably at least a couple hundred years old, and just a wonderful addition to living life here on the farm. And again, it's you know, what the trees provide, and Lachlan gave us kind of the statistics on that, is they're a carbon dump. They're a place that, you know, takes in carbon dioxide and puts out oxygen. So you can see we're lucky enough to live in a oxygen-rich environment. And again, the trees are much better looking than I am. So I'm going to flip you around and give you a little more view of you know, what we've actually got here in terms of the trees, which cool the house all summer. So there's nothing like air conditioning in the oldest farmhouse in Michigan. And you can see why, because of these beautiful trees, which offer not only protection to the house, you know, they serve as a windbreak, but they also cool the house off incredibly in the summer. Of course, right now, you know, they don't have their leaves on, but in the next couple of weeks, these will be loaded. Oh, and what conversation about
Hey, Tom, this is Jeremy, and you're breaking up a little bit. I'm wondering if you're on Wi-Fi, you might want to switch to data. And at least we've got a nice still shot. And I'm sure that Tom is there. Oh, and there we are. So Lachlan, we've lost our connection to Tom in this moment.
Hello, Jeremy. Hello. Funny meeting you here. Well, that's why I hang around backstage, just in case for these kind of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, he's got a data issue. So
Yeah.
I'm going to see about.
One thing the trees don't have is Wi-Fi. Okay.
Yeah, they've got their own. You talked about their chemical communication based.
Right. That's
and I
right.
don't think our phones operate on that.
Yeah.
On that platform.
I understand. Okay. So let's see. Let's find out how we're doing here in terms of oh, come on. Plant those trees, ladies and gentlemen. Our phones are waiting.
Bringing off the hook. Yeah. So I do have this webpage loaded in the background. This is
beautiful. Okay.
This is
good. All right. So that number, just so everybody's clear, that number was up until today, and the counter is something that we alter as we go along. It doesn't click on automatically.
It's not a real time.
Exactly. So we're still at 235 trees. Now, I don't mean to be scolding to anyone out there, but when the number is the same, when I come back on after I've been gone for a while, well, that's not a good thing, okay? Because those trees are counting on you, okay? If you don't like human beings, that's not a problem, but express your love for the trees, all right? So just get to that 2020 or Bust page, 2020orbust.org. And, you know, otherwise, how do you expect to keep this wonderful programming like we bring you here on the 2020 or Bust channel to continue?
Our repertoire
there
is,
we go.
there we go.
That's better.
That's it right there. Plant a tree, empower a hero.
You're back online.
And like
Tom,
I said,
made it back to safety.
Exactly. Made it back alive after, you know,
you're
being out there.
Help me again, Jeremy. And again, I'm here for the filler in terms of technical.
All right. Thanks for stepping up. All right, Tom, take it away. So my suggestion there was, if you were on Wi-Fi it'll try to hang on to that signal even as you get too far away. And then best thing to do is make sure you got data. Just go straight on the cell service and turn off Wi-Fi. And you might be able to do a wider walkabout. Okay.
Yes. Did my walkabout get completely cut off?
After you did the hands around the tree, 20-foot around type thing, yeah, it tapered off and it froze, and then it was just buffering, and so Lachlan stepped in.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, great. Well, I kept at any rate, it doesn't matter. Technical stuff is
Lost
there
to
you have
history.
it, right?
It didn't get on the internet.
Okay, gotcha. And did you get my little story about tree huggers at all, Jeremy?
No, I knew you were attempting. You did hug the tree yourself, and you couldn't quite get around. But no, we missed the story. So if you want to recount that, we'll hear it for the first time.
I'd love to. I've been talking for the last 15 minutes. Obviously, not broadcasting the whole time. But at any
The
rate,
data loss interest. You gotta have the.
Well, as most of us know, tree huggers was sort of a derogatory term for hippies who were environmentalists and trying to protect the environment and like that. But it actually came from the original event was there was 370 Hindu people were killed trying to protect the trees on their land that were being taken to build the royal palace. So, and they had the name tree huggers because that's how they were actually protecting their trees when they were killed. So it was a pretty radical protection that they were doing on their trees, and radical actions are demanded at radical times, and we're having some times here. So again, I want to encourage people, if you didn't hear the first part of our broadcast, to really participate in 2020 or Bust tree planting initiative. And that's where you, for $2, you not only plant a tree, but you empower a person who's impacting the environment, including yourself. You're empowering yourself as well. So as you can see with the trees, I don't know if you got to see the trees around the property. It sounds like not, but we've got these beautiful trees that are 15, 20 feet around and completely protect. This is the oldest house in Michigan, as I offered up early in the show. Let's see, what else did we want to say during this?
And Tommy Hawk throw.
Well, we did want to demonstrate, as part of the health initiative of this part of the program, is I did want to show you a demonstration of what's called the tree pose. It's a yoga pose, very good for your balance, very good for aligning the internal self, and it's going to be demonstrated by my two angels here, Sherry Foki and Mary Tessman. And I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see them as they demonstrate the yoga tree pose. Hang on just one second. Hold on. Okay, if you go ahead and demonstrate that right now. Oh, there's Sherry Foki's going to do it. I'm not sure Mary Tessman. Yes, she does. And there she is. And there you have it. And you can see excellent balance. These two are, of course, both expert skiers, so that helps. Okay, thank you very much. So there you go. That's the tree pose, which can also be used to, again, honor our relationship with the arbor part of our environment. I don't know, Jeremy, is there anything else that we can offer up on this part of the show? Let's see, we've got of course there's trees are just, they're wonderful. And we obviously love them. I really am sorry that you guys didn't get the full view, but I am going to show you a little bit more of where they've been taken care of here in Michigan at the farm, and you get a real sense of it from out these windows. So these trees are hundreds of years old, and like I say, there's the opportunity that we have in planting trees to contribute to future generations. And it's not like we're going to not always have to have a good supply of oxygen, but there you have it. I mean, and they're all around the house. They not only, supply a place for carbon to get sucked up, but to produce oxygen, which obviously we use. There's Sherry Folke. And let's see, one last thing is that I think the last thing that are so wonderful about trees is when they do get knocked down or die or whatever, they also are a wonderful source of heat. And this is our wood stove. So we have a relationship with these trees from birth to death. And I don't know, that's
if you want to go outside, Jeremy said turn off your Wi-Fi. You might
I-
get it to work.
I know Jeremy said turn off the Wi-Fi, but I don't think our signal's very strong outside.
For data, it would be.
Okay. All right. Jeremy, is there anything, any questions, that any of the folks watching the show here, any questions they have for us or any you have for us? Anything
Well,
that,
My significant other is from Michigan, and I wanted to get a repeat on where are you at right now?
we're in Girard, Michigan, which is just north of Coldwater, and Coldwater is
South
just
Battle
across
Creek.
south of Battle Creek. It's right off 69 north of the Indiana border.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm looking it up. Cool. Well,
Yeah, so this is it's the oldest farm in Michigan, and this is the oldest farmhouse in Michigan. So it's quite a historic place. It's a historic farm, and we get to be the caretakers of its whatever.
Well, I wanted you to know that Joyce Nolan here through the Facebook comments has wished you a happy birthday.
Oh, that's right. In
Yeah,
case
put your
anyone
name
missed
there.
it, who
Yeah,
joined us
that's-
later in the show. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you so much. It is my 71st birthday, and I'm going to be. I've been celebrating since early this morning, and we'll be continuing that well into the evening. Sherry and I are going to go. We're going to ride our bikes. We've got a nice 45-minute ride around on dirt roads, right around the farm here. So
I saw Lachlan in on this conversation with you, but celebrating
Yeah,
all
well,
day, you say.
All day, all day, all day, all day. That's everything. We're
yes,
gonna,
exactly.
and not to take away from your birthday, but we're going to be celebrating trees for the next 36 days.
Oh, 36 days. Beautiful. Well, Lachlan, I don't know if you saw much of our broadcast, but as those.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we've got, it's just an unbelievable spot. And some of these trees here are just, they would knock you out. And again, I want to mention that our tree planting initiative is going to impact generations to come. And it's really a way to be building a future for our children, our children's children's children, and an awesome contribution that can be made.
Absolutely. And we're dealing right now with the whole question about if there will be generations to come, because this next, 12 to 18 months is make it or break it for human beings. So
Yes.
that's whether you like that, don't like that, whatever it is like that, that's the deal. And if you folks out there think the coronavirus was, something to deal with, well, the climate crisis is going to make that look like kindergarten, child's play.
Yep. Yep.
Montessori preschool, like no kidding. Nothing against Montessori, I love it. All right.
So,
well, I think one of the things about it, Lachlan, is that both the impact on the environment, the crisis that we're facing with that, including the coronavirus. Yep. These are very predictable occurrences. It's not like these came out of nowhere. Yeah. The science has been behind these for 30, 40 years. Yeah. And, people should know that this is no kidding, that everything that 2020 or bust has said is going to impact the environment has proven true in a very short period of time, if enough people will take enough effective action. And that also includes then a plan for the long term.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're actually out for that humanity can wake up, so that we're choosing those actions, not that we're forced by the government into a state of quarantine.
Exactly.
There it is, right there.
Right. The crisis of consciousness. Wake up.
Wake up!
Exactly. Jeez, come on.
So I just
I
want to
mean,
acknowledge
this is
some
too great.
comments.
What's
We
that?
got Fatima Aziz. She was part of the Earth Day broadcast. She says hi. And
Hi,
then also
Fatima.
from the Twitch platform, we have Flat Turtle 96454 letting us know that turtles rule. So
Yeah,
And they,
another one of the
come on, turtles. Absolutely.
what does turtles what the
Oh my God! When we were down in Florida for the shoot, whatever that festival was called, we were got to meet the folks that were there about the sea turtles and the plastic straws and all that horrific.
Riptide.
Yes, Riptide. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
the riptide.
Yeah.
And not, just the, the 2020 or bust. We are heavy on action and but light on significance. So here's when somebody turn your phone down or something, whatever that background noise is.
So that's the speakerphone way Tom is hooked in here. So Tom, for future reference, if you can get like a Bluetooth headset, it'll cut down on the self-interference.
Oh, okay.
I can try managing
I can do that.
your mic
Well,
if you like.
here's a question for you. This is a question for you. Jeremy, you left. You shouldn't have to leave. But anyway.
No, I'm listening all along from the background.
Listen to this. What did the tree do when the bank closed?
It went to a different branch.
It opened its own branch.
It opened its own branch.
Oh, budding, bing, bing. Exactly. Which Canadian city is the tree's favorite?
Tom, I've muted you because.
Thank you. Which Canadian city is the tree's favorite?
Moose Jaw?
No. Montreal.
Montreal.
Now here's
Jordan, I was getting my headset. Is that any better?
Hey.
You're coming through very clearly, and we'll hear it when you're not speaking because we won't hear ourselves speaking.
Yes, it'll be perfect for the Bigfoot reenactment. So yeah. So then what was wrong with the tree's car?
What was wrong with the tree?
What was wrong with the tree's car? It wouldn't go.
Yeah. That joke wouldn't go.
Try the chicken. I'm here all week. Come on. Okay.
Another shout out to Tony Exter, who's just letting us know that we're pretty cool.
Hey, Tony.
That's how I'm interpreting that.
All right. So, who comes on? Who comes on at on the hour there, Jeremy? Anybody in the bullpen? And in the meantime, this is a wonderful time to get that credit card out, pick up that phone, and start punching those numbers.
Exactamundo.
Exactly. Plant 5 trees, 10 trees, 100 trees, 1,000 trees, whatever works for you. And look, and I understand people are in the midst of this whole COVID-19 thing and masks and first responders and all that. I understand. It's like, boy, nobody wants to talk about anything else. But the climate crisis is moving on. It is not pausing until we stop dealing with the coronavirus to then pick up again. It is happening. So it's not that, we want to stop one and wait for the other one or like that. But this is, let this virus business be a real warning because we are not going to be able to fight it the way, this virus thing, it's our enemy and we're going to defeat it and marshal all of our military and scientific and everything forces, that ain't going to happen with the climate crisis because Mother Nature is, she's going to win big. Okay. She's going to ping us off the planet like a net. So, Jeff Bonner.
Jeff Bonner.
Jeff and Brock John.
Hey,
Howdy, Jeff. Is that your mask? Oh,
my
right.
gosh, I'm ready.
Very nice.
RF sensitive.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just kidding.
RF.
Radio frequency.
Oh.
Like it blocks coronavirus and radio frequencies.
So you
Which
could put
mind
your
control.
head.
I'm just riffing you guys. Please don't.
Well, this is
Don't
your
take it seriously.
this is your segment.
I'm writing this down, Jeff.
Okay, good. After you inject yourself with bleach, you need to get an RFID blocking.
Absolutely. I've got a Listerine IV ready to actually, it's a mix between Listerine and Fantastic because this and the odor is much nicer. I put the Fantastic in for a little bit of the smell.
Yeah, I actually prefer Formula 409, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay, 2020 or busters. I have to sign off. They've organized a virtual birthday party for me. Jeff, it's my birthday. In case you didn't get the
Happy
big news.
birthday,
So,
Tom.
thank you.
happy birthday.
As Arnold would say, I'll be back.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Happy birthday.
All
See you,
right,
Tom,
thank
Mary, and Terry.
you.
Bye.
Bye. So, Lachlan, yes, coming up, starting in this moment, is Lynn Chittick, Diane Warren, Abdul Fattah Samru, and the seed planting campaign.
Okay,
Let's
great.
see. And actually, and that moment, Lynn disappeared here. So just wherever you are, now's your time, Lynn.
And that is spoken from the practical existentialist. That's how you know that's
Thank
who it
you.
is. Wherever you are, that's your time. So use this time, get out there, 2020ourbust.org. Click that banner, plant those trees. You will not only be contributing physically to the sustainability of Mother Earth, and by virtue of that, humanity itself, you'll also be making an investment in altering the mindset that human beings live in, which is we are the superior species and we live independently of all other life. For one of the myths, which is we really have to break and use the opportunity of Arbor Day and the tree planting campaign for that. So that it's time to get related to the trees, ladies and gentlemen, because we are related. So it's time to wake up to what that relationship is. So, how are you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing just fine.
Are you in Maine?
I am in Maine.
Ah, so lots of trees there.
Okay, you called me in. You're from Maine.
Yeah, Maine.
I'm coming in. I'm in
right.
Maine too.
Okay. Jeremy, you can dump me back to the back room or the
No, stay here, Lachlan. Stay here. Stay here. My technology.
We saw
is
you
going-
hearing that.
It's a
My technology.
hostage situation. So I should exactly. I should have the graphic of me tied to a tree at this point. All right.
Right. Diane is not. We're waiting for Diane, Abdul, and Raymond, and it looks like probably there's some shedding going on in Pakistan. So we're going to let go. But
wow.
Jeff, where are you in
Yes.
Maine?
Dunkwit?
Awesome. I'm from the Northport area,
Okay.
Penobscot Bay.
Okay.
Love it. I climbed a lot of trees there.
Awesome.
You guys are doing great. Lachlan, I couldn't get my technology moving, and I'm just like so eternally grateful.
No problem.
And we're just going to keep moving this, but I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to stand for tree planting today because I think, as we start moving with 2020 or Bust and actions of impact groups,
Yeah.
We're super excited. The Torch family has been doing a lot of work in Pakistan and growing trees and developing. And on our other chat, I'm not sure how Jeremy moves around here. He shifted me around here. But Jeremy, if you can move us over to on the
I'm
back
listening.
office, there's actually a
Talk about the
there's a
website.
slide. Yeah, there's a slide on there. I'm not sure where it is right now. It
Okie
should
dokie.
be under branding, but you're on there for 2020 or bust, so I'm not sure if we'd have to move.
In terms of, yeah. Okay, so we're talking about, there's a little drop down. So
Got it. So can I play a little gig for you guys?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Watch this. This is the Torch family. We're in Pakistan, and this is our school. So just stay tuned and see what this looks like. It's going to cover our screen. I don't know exactly how it's an overlay. So everybody hold on, but this is Raymond's school. This is how Torch is the organization for realizing change in humanity. And we went to Pakistan and planted trees, but this school, when you look in the background, it was completely barren. It was completely, nothing there, 100 orphans.
Wow.
And we went there and you'll see what happens. So you ready?
Yeah.
Hello friends, I would like to show you our school. This is our school signboard. Inside of our school, friends, this is a solar school. You can see our solar. This is all beautiful. You can see the flowers. It's a green school. We would like to show you the computer lab. Hello teacher. Yes, this is the computer lab. You can see all the kids are learning different programs. So, hello Isanda, what are you doing?
I'm listening to
Yes. What would you like to say about Taj family?
Long live Taj family.
Hello? Yes, what would you like to?
Thank you, Mama Line for seeds.
Yes, Mr. Hussain.
Mama Line, you are so kind.
I will support you and the Taj family, and we are proud to be working with you and also working under your leadership. Thank you so much.
So there.
Wow.
That's our pilot program. And so it was a year anniversary when we met you, Lachlan. And, we started this school. I started working with this school, and Torch Seeds has been planting seeds. So when I went over in 2019, we planted 8 trees in the schoolyard.
Wow.
We found out that the kids really didn't nurture them. So this year we did a lot more infiltration of Torch.
Yeah.
And really started developing them in a way we could really stand for that relationship. But Raymond's been a pilot school for us. It's been amazing what he's done. Diane's here with trees. Go ahead, Diane. You're on.
I'm coming to you from very near Big Basin State Park in Santa Cruz, California. And
And if everybody can torch their mute, mute their.
so I actually live about 10 minutes away from Big Basin State Park. And I have a mountain meadow and some redwoods and oaks and various things in my backyard. Well, my mountain meadow, that's not mine. So,
Diane, awesome. So tell me, when you go out in the trees, what are you feeling? What are your really engagement about your trees? I want everybody's feelings here, Lachlan. Let's go. I want your feelings of when you go out in the trees. What do you feel? This is Mama Lynn. I'm like all about the feelings of our hearts.
Oh, it's wonderful to have nature right here. I mean, I don't even have to go outside. It's, you know, I can see it from the windows inside. And this is really what got me to move where I moved. I was looking about 3 years ago, and I found one place that was cuter on the inside, but it didn't have this on the outside.
Is that your house, Diane?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I thought you like went to a park or so. That's your house?
I'm sitting on my deck.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Do you sleep with the windows open?
Sometimes.
Oh, that would just be wonderful. Oh my God.
Diane, can you just turn the camera a little and just give us a full view? I went to school at UC Santa Cruz, so I'm familiar with that area.
Oh, I got you. So,
oh, isn't that great?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I can't see it very well. I can't tell you what I'm showing. I can't tell what I'm showing.
Right. That's amazing. Wow.
So, you know, the trees give us so much life force, you know, and it's really our breath. And, you know, we're dealing with COVID right now. And I just want to put it out to everybody, like, try to get out in the trees because they're going to help you breathe. They're going to help you really bring your lungs open. They're going to bring oxygen to your blood. And, you know, it's so important what Lachlan and all of us are doing to try to plant 100 million trees by May 31st. It's a big order.
Mute, Diane.
We're going to mute a little bit. It's really important to look at what that means because it's going to help all of us get through another layer of this. Because once COVID, even though the curve's going down or may go down, I'm not sure where it stands. I don't watch a lot of news right now.
Yeah.
I think when we start going down, we need a lot of trees planted just to have that breath.
Yeah.
You know, just to have the movement of breath. And so every single thing that you do to spend $2 today, skip the coffee, skip everything, get your coffee in the air that you breathe.
Yes.
You know, like bring forward another layer because you guys, it's so important. It's like our life force. The trees are our life force. I was in Ithaca when they were cutting down trees in one of the parks, and all of the students got up in the trees. And they wouldn't let them cut down the park. And it was so powerful. They wanted to put another parking lot. And the students wouldn't let them. And it was so cool just watching how much, you know, people all over the earth have done this. Butterfly. Do you remember the woman butterfly that was up in the trees in the way in the rainforest?
Wow.
She was climbing trees when all these big corporations were cutting down trees in the rainforest.
Wow.
And she just like did this amazing work. Like I really honor her, you know, like she stayed up in that tree for like 30 days or something.
Yes.
And people hosted up food for her and anything that she needed. It was really, you know, it was really a statement that we all need to make today. And you know, I love your jokes. Why don't you give us a couple more jokes, Lachlan? Let's go.
Oh, let's see. Hold on. This is if you're ready for them, right?
Yep, we're ready.
Okay. All right. How do you know when a tree has had too much root beer?
Go ahead.
He won't stop texting his axe. Oh,
Keep going, keep going.
God, okay. Oh my goodness. Let's see. What did the tree say to the bully?
Come on.
Leave me alone. Oh my God. Why are trees the best networkers? They're always branching out. Oh my God.
And that's really interesting because branching out is real. You know, there's a person that's doing a lot of work with the trees right now. He said that the infrastructure underneath, they're a community. And so they're deeply growing in community trees. And they live with each other through community. And you can see it when you walk in the forest, you can see the intermingling of trees everywhere. And so the overarching big tree gives over its seeds and then it comes back through. So Jeff, what do you think about this tree planting? Give us some ideas about Maine. I have to say hi to my Mainer. I'm so excited you're here.
You're muted.
Oh, we got to get you unmuted. Sorry, dear. Can you hear us?
No, he's there. You
go. Okay. Well, there's a lot of trees in Maine. Definitely that's the case. It's, you know, I don't know what to say that's useful here. So trees are great. Trees are definitely investing in. Trees are one of the best things I can think of to make a difference for the planet. And I'm thrilled to be investing in trees, whether I'm in Maine or California or New York City.
Jeff, what about, I was curious, whoops, we got a double whammy here. What about your area in what you're up to as far as like 2020 or bust? How long have you been involved in 2020 or bust? I don't know you, so I want to get to know you a little bit.
Oh, I got it. So let's see.
I want to connect.
2 or 3 decades I've been involved with 2020 or bust. I don't know, a couple of years.
No, more than a couple.
Okay, 3 years, 4 years?
Between 3 and 4 years, yes.
Okay, great. And I'm in charge of the app for 2020 or bust.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
And which now, by the way, is promoting the tree planting campaign. Did you notice that, Lachlan?
I did not. I will check that out immediately. Thank you for that.
Very good.
Fantastic.
You can plant trees right from the front page. You don't even have to go off the front page.
Oh, beautiful.
So you're a tech man. You're a tech man from Maine that is helping 2020 or bust. And this is the torch. We have 4 pillars. We have peace, health, environment, and tech. And so we're trying to bring together. There's 4 of us on here, and here we are. Like there's a foursome, and the force of collection. I'm just so excited that you're a tech person in Maine. Like this is so cool. No, but like seriously.
You know, I'm just hiding out in Maine. I'm actually from New York. So don't get too enthusiastic about the Maine connection.
Yeah, but Ogunquit is awesome. Do you have a place there?
My wife's family has a place which they're graciously letting us stay in. Yeah. And it's fabulous. Like I go walking on the beach in the morning and all that, you know, Marginal Way, you know Marginal Way?
I don't know it.
Okay. If you go on my Instagram feed, you can see my pictures from Marginal Way over the last few weeks.
Beautiful. Love to get to know you better, for sure.
Okay, well, absolutely then.
Yeah, welcome to the torch, right? Welcome to Sparking the Planet.
Okay, very good.
Appreciate that. You. Yeah, and Diane, what do you have to say today? Let's go into Diane's she showed us our beautiful background, but we're going to get to Diane now and see what she's got to say for us.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay.
And Lachlan and you.
Okay, well, what I have to say, besides trees are beautiful and it's relaxing to be around trees, is there were articles out just a few months ago about that if we planted enough trees, and it was a heck of a lot of trees, it was in the trillions.
Yeah.
If we did that it would absorb enough carbon dioxide to really I mean, they were implying it would handle climate change.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing to be doing.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's the only thing to be doing, but it is a great thing to be doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we are encouraging donations to plant a tree and to support volunteers like me who are
Absolutely.
And really like everybody who's involved with us. We're doing constant volunteer work, and it takes some money.
It does. Yep.
Yeah, money is important in this whole gender of things. And that we're in a time now that planting a tree is much better than drinking a cup of coffee. I'm going to put it out there again. Just like, a cup of coffee, you can get how many trees, Lachlan, with a cup of coffee? A cup of coffee is what?
$4 or $5.
$4 or $5.
Yeah, it depends where you go. It's at the bodega downstairs for me. It's $1, but that's a cheap cup of coffee. I'm in Brooklyn, so in Manhattan you're going to spend $5. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
The other thing I want to say, Lynn, and I know you're much more familiar with, I'm new to the whole tree phenomenon, right? But I'm really convinced that the trees are one of the great undiscovered wonders. And I know, I'm a New Yorker. I spend most of my time in the city, and when we took on this skateboarding initiative where we were going to skateboard all around the world, and then the virus hit, so everybody went indoors. But when I had the opportunity to spend 37 days on a skateboard going through Utah and Nevada, and the state parks, it was literally, there were times when, there was me and a moose or a buffalo even, and but I'm telling you, it was life altering. And I can't explain everything that happened from being out there and, spending that much time every day, but it's worth people at least beginning to question, what is that?
That's right. It is that. It's what makes us alive. Heaven and earth for me, we flow through our heartbeats, whether we like it or not, right? Yeah. And the heartbeat of the trees is huge. There's a heartbeat from the trees. There's a heartbeat from the presence of, all of us wouldn't be here without the trees. It's just so deeply clear. And the types of trees. We just went to Pakistan. I wanted to show you guys. We brought the Singing Tree Project here. Lori Marshall was on for our Singing Tree project, and a lot of technical issues with their team. So unfortunately, it just happened. But the Singing Tree Project was bringing 85 art projects across the globe, and it came out of World War II. Or World War I, when a little girl saw a bird up in the tree when everything else was gone, and everything was gone. And that storyline is huge. And when I told the storyline to the kids in Pakistan, they really got it. They really got that the seeds of life were so important. Planting seeds, planting the relationship of seeds is what we're doing today. We're planting these seeds for you guys to spend a couple dollars. And I have a really cool guy that I really want to bring on. We should do this. We should just keep this momentum. But
yeah,
David Yarrow went around and discovered all the oldest trees in our planet, and he would be a great asset to just talk about the gift of the. They outlive us over and over. And the history that a tree is seeing versus what we've seen is much greater. And I just, it's huge. It's huge. And so at that point, I want another joke. I gotta have another joke. Come on, Lachlan.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Give it up. Give it up. We
Okay.
gotta get going. We
Okay.
Here.
All right. What's a tree's favorite subject in school?
Okay, go ahead.
Geometry. How can you identify a dogwood tree?
Go ahead.
From its bark. All right, and then here's what's a tree's favorite radio station? One that plays the poplar songs.
Say it again. Say it again.
One that plays the poplar songs.
Oh, that's so great.
All
All right. Tell us more what we can do for 2020 or bust. Like I think Jeff can tell us that he built this page. Jeff, do you want to say any more about the page? You're live.
The app?
The app.
Well,
Yeah.
I built the app. Not a lot more to say about it. It lets you plant trees. I mean, there's I'm trying to think what else might be of.
Well, let me say something, because Jeff is very either modest or, half drunk. I'm not sure which, but it's fine. It's all good. It's the weekend. Just kidding. But look, the whole thing about the app, when I went to Jeff initially and said, "Look, can you build us an app?" It was people said you couldn't have the kind of app that we were after because we weren't. How do you build an app that gives somebody an opportunity to take responsibility? It's like it doesn't happen in an app, right? And so, but over all of the time that Jeff's been working in it, and he's got the developers that are in India and the teams and all this kind of stuff, right? It's amazing what you've accomplished. And
thank you.
Yeah, so it's
I just want to say thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
We're right at the end of where, it actually needs to be. And part of your funding goes to that I'll be directly giving some of that money to the man that's sitting right there so that we can get that last chunk of the app finished. So it's much is at stake here. So it's
yeah, get real with that. Get real with that for a minute, Lachlan. Like the COVID brought in and you had all kinds of things going on and then COVID hit.
Yep.
And then you have to drop in to another whole layer of funding and create what you have to create. So share about that. Like, just be honest to the viewers, like where we need to go for 2020 or bust.
Yeah. See, it's we have this. Well, it still is. Okay, it's just a virtual tour, but it's called the 500 Million Wake Up Tour. And because when you do the math in terms of the impact that individuals can make in the world, and you can see it from the virus, right? Because we said 500 million people reducing their carbon, just somewhat 15-20% like that, will actually make a huge difference in terms of bridging the gap toward ending the climate crisis. Well, here we are. We certainly didn't send the virus, but as a result of this thing, much of humanity altered their action. They stopped driving. They stopped flying. They stopped, this is what people are doing now because they're staying home. And all of a sudden, my gosh, there's, the jellyfish swimming through the canals in Venice, and whales are coming back to where they haven't been for ages. And, the Mother Nature is like, oh, what we're saying is Mother Nature sent us to our room to have a good, hard think about what the hell we're doing to the place.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I believe that.
So it's been completely proved. What we've been saying is that individuals make a huge impact in terms of the environment, right? So what we don't want, though, is that everybody just kind of hunkering down. And boy, I can't wait till they open things back up again so we can just go back to exactly what we were doing.
That's right.
Let's use this time when we are at home, quarantined, it's kind of quiet, whatever, to really start to say, what kind of future do we want to have going forward instead of how can we go back to the way that it was? And, let's not blow it. Let's not blow it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say something about the app because thank you, Lachlan, for kind of getting me pointing in the right direction on that.
Yeah, no kidding. This is between modesty and just being a numbskull, okay? Exactly.
So not present. Yeah, it really is been a journey to figure out how do we have the app support people in making a difference as opposed to supporting them in taking climate change actions. That's really what I've had to learn about, that, it's not just a matter of checking some stuff off. And I actually have been looking at some other apps and, they got the science right, but it's just so disempowering and just uninteresting to work with it. You know, if you're a real tech nerd, environmental nerd, okay, great. But we've really worked on how do you make it something people could really spend a few minutes and get clear that they're part of the ending the crisis.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
unique in what we're doing.
It's not for the green people and the socially conscious people. It's for
Right.
the majority of the planet that's just out there, you know, unconsciously walking around like somebody must be handling this thing.
Yeah.
So the other thing about this, 2020 or bust and torch and is a wonderful, just a wonderful collaboration. I'm telling you, Lynn, your work has brought a whole new life to what we're doing. So I cannot thank you enough. Really can't thank you enough. And
I want to put a shout out. Gail's needing the link. So I'm not sure. I've just got to get her the link. We're waiting for Gail.
Oh.
So she should have got the link on that email.
You
got it? Okay, hang on. Diane's going to do that for us. Thank you.
Diane's playing charades.
Yay. Yeah, I was trying, but I was trying to, you were talking and yeah. But I want to say thank you because we're building a Torch Seeds app and we need a Torch Seeds app builder. So I think there's some collaboration happening.
Yeah.
With actions of impact because we've taken huge action.
Yeah.
We have taken huge action. The Torch family is ridden all the way across Pakistan. We had 1.5 million views.
Wow.
I mean, this is huge. So there's a lot of opportunity with Haji Khan Faroch and all of the members. Our members, we have 50,000 kids in Pakistan, 14,000 in Africa. Wow. And we're trying to grow seeds to be able to create seeds projects between the 4 pillars, between kids to kids. Yes. So it's an action app. It's an app to be able to develop that. So Jeffrey, Jeff, I didn't mean to call you Jeffrey, but.
I call him Jeffrey, don't worry.
Okay.
Either works.
All right. But I think we should talk here. I think
okay, absolutely.
Because I think for me, Lachlan, what you're doing and developing and building our teams together, if nobody knows, we've been working from Earth Day. We did a 48-hour ongoing planet change. And we did. We changed the planet. We did. We changed the planet. We connected people from America to Pakistan, India to Pakistan, Egypt to Pakistan, America to Egypt. I mean, all over the map. We were all over for Earth Day. And I just want to give a shout out to the whole team of Actions of Impact. And then I want to put it out to my son, Adam. I want to put a shout out because we wouldn't be on this platform without my son. He just got us rocking. So go ahead, Lachlan.
That's a genius. Well, yeah, I was just saying that the other thing, because our whole focus is empowering humanity, which is everybody. So our stand is that if you're on the planet, you have the right to know what's happening in the matter of the climate crisis, and if you want to make a difference in ending it, you should have that shot. And so the other other resource that we are always on the lookout for is the resource of exposure. So if you're somebody that has marketing expertise, or someone that is a big voice that has a big audience, lots of Instagram followers, or have your own reality TV show or anything like that, you get to a 2020 or bust T-shirt on somebody on a TV show, and all of a sudden the people are like, "What the hell is that?" Even if they have no idea what it is, boom, it got into their brain cells. So the quicker and wider we can get our message out, the better. So that's the last thing about that there.
Awesome. I love it. So Diane's off and we're waiting for our other friends. I think we'll just keep going here. I don't know where Mr. Jeremy is to switch us back to. We want to switch back to your journey, but we'll just say hi. Let me introduce you to, this is Taqwa Ahmed in this picture.
Oh, great.
Assalamu alaikum. Taqwa Ahmed has CP, and she has been in a wheelchair her whole life. Oh. And at 6 years old, she started speaking for peace. And she spoke all over Pakistan and UN, Rotary Club, you name it. And she's the one that named the Torch family. Torch was just the torch, but she named the Torch family. And she's way beyond her goals she's above her spiritual years. She's 13. She needs our prayers. She needs some help and medical support right now. Wahid's saying stay blessed right now, but she's our angel. She's really a huge player in the Torch family, and I just want to put a shout out to her. And it looks like Diane is here, so we're gonna let you, Lachlan, and her go on. Let's see. She doesn't have a camera on. Gail, is there any way to get your camera on?
No, my camera's not working, but I can more than happy to talk from here. Unfortunately, my phone, as you know, broke earlier.
Okay, no worries. I'll try to run the back office and get you 2020 or bust back up, but I'll do my best.
Is Jeremy gone?
Jeremy's not here right now, but
I don't know. I mean, I didn't know if he's gone.
Okay. It's a nice green. It's a nice green screen. It's okay, and we've got Earth Day up there, so I think we're okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna let you and Gail come on. Jeff, we're gonna come off the screen. Thank you, Jeff, so much for your contribution to 2020 or Bust. So nice to meet you. Totally want to connect you with Torch Tech and connect between the two teams, and maybe we can make a really big impact.
Very good, Lynn. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Opportunity.
Awesome.
Take care.
All right, take care now. Okay, we're gonna let you two go. Here you go, Lachlan. Thanks, Gail, for coming on. Gail is part of the 2020 or Bust. We're just gonna say one more thing. May Allah bless you and your family. Amen. Yeah. All right, take care now.
Hello, Lachlan. Good evening. How are you today, sir?
I'm fine, Gail. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. It's a blast to be on with you and have this opportunity to let all of our audience members know the amazing work that 2020 or Bust is doing. Okay. So we thought we'd, come together with you tonight and answer some questions, that a lot of people have been wondering, especially about our new tree campaign.
Oh, really? Now, have you been watching or listening to our show today?
Some of it I have been able to, and some of the rest I wasn't able to do.
Okay, all right. Just asking. That's fine. Thank you.
Oh no, well, it's called family time and church time.
Oh my goodness, I hear you. I hear you.
Well, my dear Mr. Lachlan, some of the things we wanted to talk about today is, our tree campaign and the amazing things that trees do. Okay.
Yes.
So, Lachlan, one of the questions I know that a lot of people have been asking, out of everything that you're doing for, the planet, okay, what made you focus on having 2020 or Bust, the organization, and yourself, create a tree campaign? What had you do that and look in that direction?
All right. Well, how it all went down is, and this speaks a little bit to what we were talking about before in terms of, when our in-person tour shifted to a virtual tour with all of the quarantining happening. We were associated with an organization. We partnered up with an organization that told us that how they wanted to partner with us is that they were going to have a tree planting campaign that started on Arbor Day and went until the end of May. And they were going to be offering their customer base. They had a big online customer base, and they were going to be offering their customer base an opportunity to plant trees. And then we were partnering with them. Yeah, there's some honking happening on somebody's end. Anyway, make a long story short, that organization, once the virus hit, shifted their focus to the immediacy of the virus and funding masks and gowns and things like that, all of which are, absolutely critical, and decided not to have their tree planting campaign. And so we looked at what we were going to do, and it was a hit for us because it was going to, it was a funding source and things like that. So that was not great for us. And then at some point we just said, well, what the heck? We don't need them in particular to have a tree planting campaign. Why don't we have our own tree planting campaign? And then because again, as everybody, that's been around for any period of time knows, I am as far from a scientist as anybody can get. And but once we said, okay, let's have a tree planting campaign, then I started to get interested in trees. And you know, and pretty much, you know, I kind of had what I'll call kind of the Boy Scout amount of knowledge for trees. I can actually kind of go around and say, okay, that's a maple, that's an oak, you know, things like that, and you know, which ones have bark that's poisonous, or you know, things like that. But other than that, you know, not much. And really started to just get fascinated by what I started to discover for myself as the real power of trees.
Wow.
And you know, that they just stop being this wonderful, glorious, beautiful, amazing part of nature, you know, which is nothing wrong with that, but you know, that they actually communicate in a way that they actually, you know, that there's something, you know, what if deforestation wasn't just, okay, well, they're just out there and we can cut them down because we want to get them out of the way. And if we want to use them for something, then we'll use them for something and turn them into something else. And if we don't, we'll just burn them. But, you know, no big deal, no impact, no, you know, no skin off my nose, anything like that. What if there was something fundamentally impacting the balance of life, which includes humanity, in that happening, but it was happening at a level that I was completely unaware of? And then I got real interested. And I'm not talking about, you know, kumbaya, but I mean, like really, 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 like that the interconnectedness of life, like the physics of it. And so we just thought this whole thing, and then we incorporated the kind of split that not only were you going to get to plant a tree, but that you get to empower someone. And that it really impacted, the way we looked at it is it impacts the physical life force of the tree, but also in a way kind of the energetic life force, both of what the tree provides in the matter of the kind of life-giving energy that it has, but also a shift in the mindset of a human being such that they'd have a whole different relationship to nature and the planet and themselves, including trees. So that's just seemed to be such a the trees became this wonderful kind of pathway, doorway into an investigation of life that we think is essential as the species moves on.
Well, you know, that's really good to understand that you're looking at the trees more than just planting them. Now, I want to go into the next question, Lachlan, with you is, you know, now that you've learned so much and the organization has learned so much, why is it important to you to differentiate between putting the power in someone's hands to end the climate crisis, right?
Yeah.
Versus people marching for the climate crisis or the governments marching for it. You know, when you put it into the hand of people to take the actions,
yeah,
what is the differentiation for you with that? Because I think that's important for people to really understand rather than just read.
Yeah, okay. Well, see, the coronavirus situation, I think, is a great kind of case study. And I don't mean to diminish the horror of what it's brought into some lab experiment, but there's a real predictability of the way we human beings relate to ourselves, each other, and the world. And the predictability is mostly explained by people as human nature. So if you look at the example of the corona deal and kind of look at how, see, there's the situation itself called the virus. And there's the situation itself called the climate crisis. They're both physical situations. Things are actually happening. You know, people are getting sick. There are physical symptoms. You know, people are physically dying. People are physically getting well. I mean, that's all is really happening. In the same way of happening is that there really are glaciers that are melting. There really is the sea level that is rising. There really are coral reefs that are disappearing. I mean, the physicalness is actually happening. So 2020 or bust doesn't deal with the physicalness as the way into the problem. And for the most part, people do. So they look at the situation as the real problem. We look at the situation as an expression of the real problem, but the real problem is human beings. So what's predictable in both instances, both with the virus and with the climate crisis, is human beings' relationship to the situation. So if you look at how we've dealt with the coronavirus, is that, there's whether we were prepared or whether we weren't prepared. And how do you prepare is that you get, enough of whatever it's going to take to kind of hit when the impact comes. What are we going to need to do to be prepared in the face of it? Well, in the coronavirus, there's things like you're going to need to have masks. You're going to need to have gowns. You're going to need to have ventilators, right? Well, the same way we're looking at what are we going to need in the climate crisis? Well, the climate crisis, we're going to need seawalls, right? We're going to need houses that are now built up on sticks rather opposed to like that. We're going to need to move everybody that's kind of in the coastal areas, up to higher ground. So all that kind of stuff, right? But none of it gets at what we really think of as the problem, right? Which is how we live. So, see, I relate to the virus like it's something outside me. And you could certainly argue that it is, okay? But on the other hand, the way they talk about it is that it's always there and it's dormant, and what gets it activated, right? So if I relate to it like it's something outside me, then what we tend to do, and this is kind of what's predictable. See, what's happening now with the virus is that everybody gets together, everybody bands together, and they have all these slogans. Yes, what is it we're called now? We're alone together, or you're not alone. We're all blah, blah, blah. And humanity has this very, very predictable way when there's a crisis of everybody gets together. Everybody, we're all going to be one. We got to get rid of all our partisanship. This is bigger than anything like that. And we're all going to get together, and collectively, we're going to declare war on a common enemy. And then we're going to amass all of the forces that we have in terms of the military, all of the forces that we have in terms of politics, all of the forces that we have in terms of social money, everything, the billionaires, everybody gets together, and we bring all of that might to the crisis, and then we beat the sucker. And in World War II, we beat the Nazis, right? When we went to the moon, that was all about beating the Russians so that we could be there first. And we've got example of example of example. And the corona crisis is the same thing. So, but then I think what's interesting is that when the crisis is over, all of that stuff about we're all one, we're all working together, that disappears. So the climate crisis is you're not going to be able to beat it with that model. What if the climate wasn't the enemy? What if what's got us into this mess is humanity itself? What if the root cause of it is how humanity relates to itself, how I relate to myself, how I relate to others, and how I relate to the world? And this gets us into the trees, right? See, fundamentally, you're still on, Gil, right?
Absolutely.
So fundamentally, and this is just for people to consider, okay, because this is just our wild ass campaign, but fundamentally, I relate to myself like I'm fundamentally separate from you. And there's how I am, and I'm a white man, and I'm gay, and I'm this, and I came from this, and all that stuff, and all of that means this, right? And then I relate to you, and you're an African American, and you're a woman, and blah, blah, blah. So that means that, right? So we're these two kind of separate things, fundamentally separate, different entities. And the best we're going to do is to get along. That's the best it's ever going to go. So what if, in fact, we weren't really different? It looks like we are, and of course, physically and all that kind of stuff, right? But what if kind of that really isn't the case? And what if there's kind of a connectedness between the two of us that I'm not aware of, but that it's actually there? See, what if the earth isn't this, kind of just place where we happen to live? What if it's not just the current house where we live in? What if it's not just natural resources? What if it isn't, before the Europeans came over to what's now America, the Indians related to earth as their mother. You don't drill your mother. You don't mine your mother. You revere your mother. And the Indians had a whole different relationship. They were a part of life. They were a part, they had names like Running Bear. I mean, they were of nature. They weren't superior. The earth wasn't here for their use. But when the Europeans came over, that's what they brought with it. And everything changed. So
that's quite powerful, Lachlan. Very powerful to really take in how we relate to each other. And this is something that, you and I have talked about before, and we talk with others, is that really we all are we're interconnected, period.
Yeah, and it's not something new. I mean, if you listen to the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the whole thing that we're all part of that fabric, the tapestry of life. And that if anybody loses, we've all lost. So that's kind of out there as these inspirational quotes that hang on people's walls, and they're wonderful.
But they're never used.
Yes, but not something that we've actually kind of taken in and actually said, wow, what if that's actually the case? Not just something that hangs on the wall to inspire me.
Exactly. And here's the thing, getting back into this, from what you're speaking of, when we look at that, we don't take these quotes and, we see quotes about the trees, we see quotes about, climate, we see quotes about Earth Day. What I'd like to ask you is, if I'm someone who's listening to you for the first time,
yeah,
and I really, as this person who's listening, there's so many people right now that are going to hear you for the first time. They're going to hear about what we're doing with, the trees and everything.
Yeah.
Not about just getting only involved in 2020 or bust. What if this person says, Mr. Arts, I hear these things, I know these things, okay?
Yeah.
But what small action can I take? It's not going to really make that big of a difference if I take an action myself. I'm just but one person, and even if I share with other people, what can 2 or 3 or a couple of people do? What would you say to them, Lachlan?
Okay, well, I'm gonna answer a little different than probably but I will get to it. Okay, I promise you. See, the first thing that I would ask them to do is that I would ask them to bring some kind of critical thinking to consider that there is at least one myth, fundamental myth, that they're currently living inside of. And, one of the things that 2020 or Bust offers is that we've got a menu of myths. And they're the myths out there that much of the population relates to as just the way that it is. But if you actually examine the myth against reality and what's actually happening, you'll see for yourself, not because 2020 or Bust told you, that gives you no power, but you'll actually see for yourself, wow, that's not actually accurate. So one of those myths, and the big myth is that individuals can make little to no difference in ending the crisis. So that's a myth both that leaves you with no power. And when you've got that myth in operation, which many people do, what you'll find yourself doing is things like recycling and hoping. So a funny thing happens when the myth gets exposed as the myth. And what happens is you get a different kind of power because now you're not constrained or stopped by the myth. But what that means is that now you have to do something. See, if all of a sudden why I don't have any power isn't because of how I've explained it. See, it used to be that I didn't have any power to end the climate crisis because individuals just don't have any. I don't have any power because where the power is in the government. I don't have any power because the power is in, the coal plants in China. I don't have any power because who has the power of the billionaires, which is much of what's out there right now. But if all of a sudden I actually examine it, I'll see that that's not actually the case. And that not alone, I can't do it alone, but what we've proven with our science is that if 500 million people wake up to that kind of power that they've got as individuals, then the individuals' actions that they take actually begin to have a global impact. And if you want to know the biggest action that an individual can take, one of them, of course, is what we've got right here, is to plant trees. But the other thing is to shift towards a plant-based diet. The knock-on effect of what happens when you stop eating beef is really astronomical. And once people wake up to the impact that is, suddenly it isn't like, wow, I'm going to deprive myself of that hamburger. But no, now, as a human being, as an individual that actually has the power to make a difference in ending the climate crisis, I'm going to not eat that hamburger as an expression of the global difference that I make. So that's now how I get to go through my day as someone who actually makes a difference, rather than somebody out there that's trying to figure out what to do, even though I'm fundamentally don't have any power.
That's absolutely wonderful that you said that, Lachlan, because not only when they wake up to the fundamental fact that they have power in this area of climate change, they'll wake up to the fact that they have power within themselves to create and do anything. And so where I want to go with you here is in a very interesting question. So since the coronavirus has happened, the implications of its effects have been very positive on the environment, on trees and things like that. But now I have a question for you. There are certain parts of the United States, okay, where actually there is a drying of land, I can't think of the word right now, but where climate, it also shows that we're going into a drought rather than it reversing itself. And I just, even though I know you're not a scientist or anything, you've done a lot of research in this area, and I think people would still want to know your opinion on that. Could that be a sign that the Earth actually is reversing itself, but it needs to go through this period first before it does? We'd like to know your thoughts on that.
Well, I can't say, because I have not done any research in that at all. Okay, so I can't say with any kind of certainty as far as what's actually happening. I can say in terms of what I would offer in the realm of kind of a committed opinion is that if that's part of what we've got to endure along the way, I'll take it.
That's great. That's a great way of looking at it, because like you said, once the individual sees that they have power, and you can see that there's a drought, then there may be things that people or persons who live in that area can do something about it.
Yes, look, it's kind of like this, and I know we're gotta wrap up here, but the planet is a body. It's a body, it's a planetary body, it's a being. A human being is a body, right? And we coexist. And if you look at the human body does everything it possibly can to stay well. That's what it's doing. That's what it does, okay? And as less under attack that we put it, the better off it is, right? So the Earth is similar. So, we look at it like Mother Earth, everything that's happening, she is doing the best that she can, right, to keep herself in balance. And we have done a hell of a lot of damage in throwing off that cycle. See, once we're gone, people say we got to save the planet. No, the planet, she'll be here. The planet's going to be here, okay? And it will rejuvenate. once it gets rid of us, if that's how it's going.
Okay. Well, I have one last question. We have 2 minutes, and I have one last question for you.
Actually, Gail, I really, if we could, okay, because I know that Lynn is on, and I really would like to end on time, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I'd like Lynn to be able to say something in closing, just because she was part of putting this whole thing together, and I just want to make sure that we, get to thank people if we could do that.
Sure.
And thank you, Gail. Thank you, Gail. You've made an enormous difference in terms of marketing and graphics and everything. It's just been amazing, and the promotion and, working with the team and everything. Just thank you for, we could put this thing on, but if nobody sees it, makes no difference. So really thank you for everything.
All right. So we're on here, and I want to read a poem by Mary Oliver.
Great.
When I am among the trees. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, especially the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say. And you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine.
Beautiful.
So thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank
We're all here to plant a tree.
Thank you.
We have Pakistan. We have all over the earth. Bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for everyone being here. We're going to plant the tree.
All right. We love you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks,
okay, thank you, everybody. Bye. Bye.
For the mission.
Bye.
We did it. Blessings. We're here. We had Dr. Whale on there to plant a tree. We had others come by and say, we want to plant a tree. I hope you plant a tree. I hope you plant a tree. $2. $2. Many of us can spend $20 to plant some trees. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your love. And we'll talk soon. Blessings.